Seminar of Transgenic Food. We are from the group 403. The team is composed by Damaris Arroyo, Andrea Cabello, Giovanna Darao, Tania Herrera, Jimena Jimenez, and Natalia Sanchez. First, we need to understand what genetic modification is. The Wigan University defines genetic modification as a technique to change the characteristics of a plant, animal, or microorganism by transferring a piece of DNA from one organism to a different organism. This is done through target removal of that desired genes from the DNA of one organism and adding them to the other organism. This technique has, for example, been used to develop fungi and bacteria that produces medicines.
Genetic modification. Plants. The webpage Genetic Generations talks about the distinctions in plants between the cisgenesis and the transgenesis within the genetic modification. The cisgenesis is the transfer of genetic material derived from a related plant. For example, generic UR has been utilized this method to use genes from wild potato plants to make consumer potatoes more resilient to the phytorrhea. And transgenesis is the transfer of genetic material from non-related species. The most famous examples are food crops like soy and corn that have been genetically modified for pest and herbicide resistance.
Modified crops. The National Geographic Encyclopedia established that humans have been altering the genetic makeup of plants for millennia, keeping seeds from the best crops and planting them in following years, breeding and cross-breeding varieties to make them taste sweeter, grow bigger, and last longer. In this way, we've transformed the wild tomato, like a persicon, from a fruit the size of a marble to today's giant juicy beefsteaks. From a weedy plant called teosinte with an ear barely an inch long has come our foot-long ears of sweet, white, and yellow corn. In just the past few decades, plant breeders have used traditional techniques to produce varieties of wheat and rice plants with higher grain yields. They have also created hundreds of new crop variants using radiation and mutagenic chemicals.
However, this solution gives more problems. Studies have been made where it shows that it will cause problems in our health. It might be positive for our economy, but if there is any kind of mistake while doing these projects, our lives will be paying the consequences. During one experiment with the rats, it showed the disadvantages of transgenic food. One of the disadvantages is that it can cause infertility. The first generation had less babies. Then the reproductive organs started to change, and by the third generation, they were unable to have babies. Not only that, the rats also had liver problems until their foods changed to not transgenic food. It may also lead to cancer. This is because transgenic food has a factor called IGF, which leads to the growth of breast, prostate, and colon cancers.
Book Fundamentals of Genetics and Biotechnology claimed that since their introduction in 1996, genetically modified GM plants have become an important component of our food supply. One genetic modification used bacterial genes that produce a protein known as Bt toxin. This toxin is harmless to humans and most animals, but enzymes in the digestive systems of insects convert Bt to a form that kills the insects. Plants with Bt gene do not have to be sprayed with pesticides. In addition, they produce higher yields of crops.
Genetically modified foods are foods derived from organisms whose genetic material has been modified in a way that does not occur naturally, through the introduction of a gene from a different organism. GM foods currently available on the international market have passed safety assessments and are not likely to present risk for human health. In addition, even though we saw some negative effects in the experiments, no effects on human health have been shown as a result of the consumption of such foods by the general population in the countries where they have been approved.